Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for a very kind, very generous introduction. I am truly humbled. And thank you all for taking the time out today. I understand it is after your classes and it's almost evening time. I'm going to keep this a very relaxed talk. The purpose is going to be threefold. I would like to tell you a little bit about my journey, who I am, and the challenges that I faced along the way as a woman in a predominantly male-dominated legal profession. Secondly, I would like to discuss what problems women are facing in the legal profession today and what we can do and what their male counterparts can do to ease those problems, to make our legal profession a more fairly represented legal profession. And thirdly, I will tell you why is it important to have a legal profession where we have a good representation from women and men. Because many of you may be thinking, what is the need to have women in the legal profession? And I will answer all of those questions for you. First of all, let me tell you about my journey. Uh, Everyone's journey has its own challenges, and so did mine. I completed my legal education in 2001 from the University of Leeds. And after that, immediately after finishing my LLB, I came back to Pakistan and I started working. And I did not join mainstream law. I actually joined as in-house counsel and I started working for the United Nations. For almost 10 years, I worked for different organizations such as the United Nations, the ICRC, UNHCR and UNAIDS. I worked also for NEPRA. I worked in all of these places as a legal advisor at the ICRC. I was looking after all of their offices in Pakistan at a very challenging time and at a time where ICRC was doing some very great work in Pakistan. But I did not join mainstream law. And that is because I was very scared. I was very scared of the legal profession, which was the few times that I went to court, I saw only and only men. And I was time and again told that it's really not a place for women. And it will be very difficult. And the road, it's very challenging. And it will take you years to establish yourself. And with all of these things in my mind, I decided that it's the safe option in Pakistan to stay as in-house counsel. But then the encouragement came from home. Actually, my father and my husband both encouraged me and they said that no, your profession, the real profession is when you wear the black coat and you go into courts and you litigate. And I was always interested in it. I always wanted to argue in court. I always wanted to handle legal cases. And will you believe then that I left a very good job as legal advisor to the ICRC and I set up my own law firm in 2014. It was an all-women-led law firm, and it was a very, very big step to start independent practice in a profession where today 12% of registered lawyers are women. At that time, it was even less. There were no women in the Supreme Court. There were very few role models or mentors, and it was difficult to take that decision. But I think it was one of the best decisions of my life. Alhamdulillah, after that, God gave a lot of respect and God gave a lot of success. And today I can sit here and ask all of you, all of the girls, to not be scared, to not be shy, and to not shy away from your real profession, and to wear that black coat with a lot of pride, And I can tell all of the young men over here listening to me that you will be proud of a legal profession which is very fairly represented. You will be proud of a profession where the women are as competent and shoulder to shoulder with you. And you will be proud when your sisters and your daughters are like Honorable Justice Aisha Malik in the Supreme Court one day, or our trailblazing lawyers like the late Asma Jahangir and so many others today who have made a name. This is the message that I want to give to you primarily today. कि हमें कुछ उर्दू में भी बताऊंगी आपको, हमें प्रोफेशन में आने से डराया जाता है और ये बहुत शुरू से स्टार्ट हो जाता है। अभी हम एजुकेशन ही कर रहे होते हैं, एलएलबी कर रहे होते हैं या एलएलएम कर रहे होते हैं, तो हमें बताना शुरू कर दिया जाता है कि हाँ, आप लॉ करने के बाद किसी बैंक में चली जाना, किसी कंपनी में चले जाना, किसी इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में चले जाना, कंसल्टेंट बन जाना, कोर्ट नहीं जाना, क्योंकि कोर्ट औरतों की जगह नहीं है। तो मैं आपको अपने एक्सपीरियंस से बताऊंगी कि एक दिन भी ऐसा नहीं था मेरे इस पूरे जर्नी में, जिसमें मैं सब कोर्ट्स में अपेयर हुई हूँ पूरे पाकिस्तान में, कि मुझे ये फील हुआ हो कि एनवायरनमेंट मेरे लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट है। एनवायरनमेंट उतनी ही डिफिकल्ट है जितनी पाकिस्तान में कहीं पर भी है। Yes, it's true that public spaces are mainly claimed by men, but we survive them. We go to the markets and we go to the parks and we go everywhere. So why can we not go to courts? We are in the hospitals, we are in the schools, women are in every profession, so why not courts? One thing is this. Second, as women, you can also lead in the profession. I have also run a full-fledged law firm. Even right now, I have a very good team of associates with me, many of whom are women and some of whom are men, but all coexisting in a very respectful, very modern learning environment. If the rest of the world, the Western world, can coexist in a work environment where men and women can work side by side and respect each other, why can we not do that in Pakistan? When we have the example, we have the biggest example before us. Our constitution rests on its preamble. And I am sure I don't need to tell all of you what that is. They are the principles of Islam. And in Islam, when we talk about our dear, honorable Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then how can we forget Hazrat Khadija? When we have these examples before us of the great ladies who held the flag of Islam and who did such big things, who accomplished so much in the field of business, on battlefields, in literary fields, we have those examples. Then we should be, the men and women both should be making sure that every profession is fairly represented. फिर तो हमारे लिए एक शर्म की बात होनी चाहिए कि वेस्टर्न प्रोफेशन में हम कहें कि अगर औरत जाके वकालत यूके में करेगी तो उसको रिस्पेक्ट मिलेगी वहां के कोर्ट्स में, लेकिन अफसोस पाकिस्तान के कोर्ट्स में नहीं मिलेगी। तो ये हमारे लिए एक शर्म की बात होनी चाहिए कि अगर हमारी खवातीन ऐसे फील करें। हम पाकिस्तानी हैं और उससे पहले, सबसे पहले हम मुसलमान हैं और हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हमारे इस्लामिक प्रिंसिपल्स पे रेस्ट करती है। और हमारे इस्लामिक प्रिंसिपल्स कहते हैं कि एक औरत की इज्जत करनी है और वर्किंग वुमन को इस्लाम ने बहुत बहुत इज्जत दी है और ये हमें पता है। हजरत खदीजा का क्या मकाम है इस्लाम में, हमें पता है। अब ये चंद बातें आपके माइंड में डालने के बाद मैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पे आऊंगी। वी आर लॉयर्स, यू ऑल सून टू बिकम लॉयर्स, सम ऑफ यू ऑलरेडी मे बी इन द लीगल प्रोफेशन. What does our constitution say, and are there any articles in the constitution that talk about equal representation, fairness, justice for women? There are very many articles in the constitution. We will start from dignity, Article 14. We will start with Article 25, equality, 25 25(2), there should be no discrimination. 25(3), that there should be special laws for women and children. And then various articles which say that women should be equally represented in the workforce. Now, our constitution is the cornerstone, the foundation of our law. Every single law comes after the constitution. When the constitution says this and gives us so many guarantees, then why is it that only 12% of registered lawyers are women? Why is it that it took 74 years for Honorable Justice Aisha Malik to be the first female judge to be appointed as a Supreme Court judge in Pakistan? Why is it that only 4.5% of leadership positions are held by women? There must be some problem, because where legislation is concerned, we have a lot of legislation and we have the constitution and we have the Islamic principles, yet we are scared to enter the legal profession. I was also scared to enter the legal profession because we need a mindset change. And that mindset change, the good news is that it is coming. One proof is this webinar right now. And this is not the first one of its kind that I am speaking at. Often I am approached by universities, I am approached by law societies, I am approached independently even by students. And they ask me about my journey, and they ask me to mentor them, and they want to learn and understand how women can enter the legal profession. And you will be surprised and happy to know that I have found young male lawyers to be as concerned about this. No longer do they want to be in a profession which is frowned upon in the world. That, you know, people say, oh, in Pakistan, it's only men who dominate the legal profession. They don't have any women judges. They don't have, women can't go to court. You know, it's not a safe place. Men don't want that reputation for their profession anymore. And slowly that is changing. Now we have women in the cabinets of the bar, not as many as I would like to see, but they are there. And we have sessions like this arranged by Bahria University, for which I am very thankful, and other universities where all of you students take out the time and you come and you listen to people like me who encourage you to join the legal profession. Few more things I want to talk about. Mainly, what are the main problems? If there are problems, what are they? Number one, cultural barriers. I have a lot of girls who call me from different places in Pakistan. They tell me that we want to come and practice in Islamabad because in our province, it is very hard for us to go to court or to practice the kind of law that we want to. कल्चरल बैरियर्स ऐसे हैं, माइंडसेट कुछ ऐसा है, अगेन बात घर तक आ जाती है कि जब तक आपका बाप, आपका भाई और आपका शोहर आपको सपोर्ट नहीं करेगा और घर से आपको वो इंकरेजमेंट और वो सपोर्ट नहीं मिलेगी तो आपके अंदर बाहर जाने की हिम्मत नहीं होगी। तो जितने लड़के मुझे अभी यहाँ पे सुन रहे हैं, मैं उन सबको कहूंगी कि आप वो स्ट्रेंथ बने अपनी घर की औरतों के लिए। जिस तरह से मैं आज आपके सामने ना बैठी होती, अगर मेरे फादर ने मुझे ना इनकरेज किया होता और कहा होता कि आप लीव द जॉब एंड गो इनटू योर प्रोफेशन, ये तुम्हारा हक है, जाओ और अपना काला कोट पहनो। सो आप लोगों को भी ये वाली सपोर्ट अपने घर से देनी है, तो ये कल्चरल बैरियर्स खत्म होंगे। घर से डराना धमकाना बंद करना है। अगर ये औरतें हॉस्पिटल्स में जा सकती हैं, काम कर सकती हैं, स्कूलों में जा सकती हैं, रोड्स पे जा सकती हैं, फैशन इंडस्ट्री में जा सकती हैं, जर्नलिस्ट हैं, तो ये कोर्ट्स में भी जा सकती हैं। फिर एक और चीज बहुत जरूरी, बहुत सारी लड़कियां मुझे कॉल करती हैं एंड दे रीच आउट टू मी और कहती हैं कि हम क्रिमिनल लॉ प्रैक्टिस करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन क्रिमिनल लॉ हम कर नहीं सकते। देयर कम्स द इशू ऑफ सेफ्टी. This is also something that we have to change. Criminal law is dominated by men, but there is we are a very large country and a lot of cases go unaddressed because there aren't as many lawyers looking after or handling those cases. It is very important for women to come into criminal law, but they can only come into criminal law when the society as a whole becomes safer. They cannot come into criminal law if they are going to be targeted for handling various criminal cases. For this, I always request the bars and the cabinets of the bars and law firms and male advocates to create an environment where they offer this security to women. Lastly, बात करूंगी वर्क प्लेस सेफ्टी की. अब ये बहुत जरूरी बात है. Workplace harassment is something that prevents women from coming into the workforce. In my law firm, in a very small, humble law firm, I have made sure that there is a zero tolerance of harassment policy. Why is that? Because we have two laws that are very, very strong laws. One is the Workplace Harassment Law 2010, and I meant the Workplace Harassment Law 2010, and not two laws, but amended again in 2022. First, the harassment was limited to only sexual harassment. Then a very good amendment came in 2022, which said that harassment is not only sexual, it is also discrimination. Meaning that if any behavior in the office makes you feel uncomfortable and makes you feel that you have been subjected to any kind of workplace harassment, or you have been subjected to any behavior that makes your working environment disrespectful towards you, whether it is verbal, physical, or any other subtle pattern, then that is punishable under the law. And for this, you must, all of you also know that there is a federal ombudsperson dealing with these cases. FOSPA is the name of the ombudsperson, and complaints can be made there. FOSPA has some very good judgments. As young lawyers, you must, all of you know about that. And two recent judgments that I thought that I would mention over here is one where intern was harassing a supervisor, and another judgment where the driver was harassing a female employee. And in both cases, these harassers were fined and were penalized under this law. So it's a very, very strong law, and everybody is protected under this law. So it's important for you to know about it, and it's important for you to know that in Pakistan, you are protected against workplace harassment. And you can seek this protection only if you know about the law. So always know about your rights. Again, the bar rooms and the bar cabinets and bar rooms should exhibit this law so that it's easier for female lawyers to know their rights, and that it's easier for female lawyers to make the complaints under this law. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, which I think is very important, and which is something that I'm sure the men listening to me are thinking about. Why is it important to have women in the legal profession? It's okay, the profession has been going on many years without very many women being there. The answer to this question is because there are many, many issues in society that require a female-sensitive approach. It is only after the intervention of lead female lawyers that we were able to have some good laws in society, and the examples include laws related to honor killings. Advocates like the late Honorable Asma Jahangir put their life on the line to have these kind of laws enacted. Then later, we have a recent judgment. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the rape laws in Pakistan, and the recent judgment of Honorable Justice Aisha Malik, which has been applauded, celebrated, clapped for all over the world, where she declared the two-finger virginity test in rape cases as unconstitutional. It was a humiliating test that women were put through. It was something wrong, a practice that was carrying on for many years, and it was only a female judge because she understood the sensitivity of the matter that she had made this very, very great judgment. So it's very, very important. जहाँ पे डोमेस्टिक अब्यूज के केसेस होते हैं, रेप के केसेस होते हैं, चाइल्ड रेप के केसेस होते हैं, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के केसेस होते हैं, औरतों के हरासमेंट के केसेस होते हैं, डू यू नॉट थिंक इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू हैव women over there to deal with these issues? Only when we let women come to the forefront, then we will see a decrease in these issues. Then we will see more betterment in society in some areas of social issues which have so far been neglected. मैं आप लोगों को एक कहानी भी सुनाऊंगी इस बात को लेकर, एंड उससे आपको ये बैकग्राउंड पता चलेगा कि मैं why I am so passionate about women issues. In 1999, I was just a student and I was interning in the office of Asma Jahangir Saiba. It was during my holiday time period that I took this internship, and I came from England to Lahore. And at that time, I witnessed something that I have remembered my whole life. I don't know how many of you know the Samia Sarwar case, but I will tell you a little bit about it. Samia Sarwar was a very unfortunate woman. She was married to a man who used to regularly beat her. He used to regularly hit her and subject her to very, very severe violence. Every time she went home and she said to her parents that I want a divorce and I don't want to live with this man, even though it was her Islamic right to get the divorce, nobody in her family supported her. So much so that she again got pregnant, I think the second time, and her husband pushed her down the stairs. Again, she suffered very, very severe injuries. She didn't understand, what should I do? So she made an excuse that she is going to go out of country, maybe for Umrah or something, and she escaped her house and she took shelter in the shelter of Asma Jahangir, the AGHS legal shelter and aid cell which exists even till today. She took shelter over there in Lahore, in the same office where I was interning. So she took shelter over there and her family found out. Now, she didn't want to meet anybody from her family because she was scared for her life. But she needed, for her divorce from that man, she needed her nikah nama and her documents. So she got in touch with her mother. Her mother said, I will bring the documents to you. She said, okay, bring them to the office of Asma Jahangir. But she refused to meet any male relatives. But when the mother was coming in, she said, I'm going to come in with your uncle. I think Mamu or Chacha, I don't remember. One of them came with her. Her mother said that I can't walk up the stairs, so the male relative has to come. The male relative came up the stairs to meet Samia Sarwar, and even before she could get any documents or he could give any documents, he shot her right in the head and she died at the spot. An honor killing. The man also tried to shoot Hina Jilani, the other lawyer, a sister of Asma Jahangir. This was an honor killing case that made headlines all over the world. And will you believe that none of those people were taken to task, because honor killings at that time were easily forgiven by the family and nobody thought it was a very big deal. In fact, when the honor killing law was tabled in Parliament, there was a walk out against it. So this is the background. This is the kind of societal problems that we are trying to address. And if we don't have women lawyers and we don't have passionate women lawyers taking a lead, we will never have an end to cases like Samia Sarwar. And there will be many, many more like that. This is just one story that has impacted me my whole life. And I have been passionate about these kind of cases, and I have also done a lot of public interest litigation. I will tell you about two of my latest cases, and I want all of you students to support them, because we must support things that are going wrong in society. One, I have done a public interest petition in the Lahore High Court against bullying. आप लोग schools में हैं, educational institutions में हैं. My petition says that there should be no bullying in any educational institution in Pakistan, and it should be made a crime. So far, it is not a crime in Pakistan. After the Scarsdale incident in Lahore, and as something that I felt very passionately about, I moved this case in the Lahore High Court. You can read more about it on my Instagram or my LinkedIn or my other social media handles. And recently, I have filed a public interest litigation in the Rawalpindi bench of the Lahore High Court to end the captivity of animals. मेरी दोनों petitions जो हैं, they draw support from principles of Islam, where I am saying end captivity and cruelty of animals. I have first and foremost quoted Quranic ayats and hadiths, and we have been taught again and again throughout Islamic history and through the word of God and Allah that Allah ने सारी कायनात को बनाया है, हर एक को बनाया है, इंसान को बनाया है, जानवर को बनाया है, एक चींटी को भी बनाया है, और कुल कायनात अल्लाह के सामने नमाज में खड़ी होती है, और कुल कायनात अल्लाह ने बड़े प्यार से और अपने हाथ से बनाई है। और हमारा अशरफुल मखलूकात के तौर पे हमारा एक फर्ज है कि हमने हर एक से मोहब्बत से और इज्जत से पेश आना है। हर वो इंसान जो हमसे वीक है, हर वो जानवर जो हमसे वीक है, हर वो जो बेजबान है, उसकी हमने हिफाजत करनी है। तो ये पिटिशन ये प्ली लेके जाती है कोर्ट के सामने कि आप एनिमल्स के ऊपर क्रूअल्टी और कैप्टिविटी को एंड करें। और उसकी काफी तफसीली पिटिशन है, इट्स 136 पेज पिटिशन. Any of you interested to read, I can share it with you. So these are the kind of things that I do as a lawyer. I would really hope that once, inshallah, all of you have become lawyers, you will do a lot of public interest litigation, you will do a lot of good work, you will respect each other, you will make room for women in the profession, and you will become a legal profession that is a proud profession in the whole world, a profession where, you know, people say, wow, look at the legal profession of Pakistan. What a learned and proud and equally represented legal profession it is, where people do some great public interest litigation, where lawyers are showing responsibility and ethics. And that is what I hope for Pakistan. And inshallah, I want any of you, if you have questions, I'm open to hear questions right now. I would also ask all of you to follow my Instagram account. It's advocate.sibah, SIBAH, and I upload a lot of useful information, legal information and talks over there. And I'm open to any questions that anyone may have. And I thank you once again for your time and wish you all very good luck.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question. Many people say that women can't survive and thrive in criminal law specifically. They all say that they should avoid it because there is no real career. It's full of challenges and you won't be given any cases. So what's your view or your perspective on this?
Thank you for that question. Yes, I agree. There are a lot of challenges, but I do not agree that you cannot survive in the criminal side of the legal profession. At the moment, I'm handling a few rape cases, as well as other criminal cases. it's important that you all start taking criminal cases, because the more female lawyers that take criminal cases, the easier it will become. The challenges will become less. And I am already encouraging the bar to come up with a code or a code of ethics where female lawyers can be given some sort of protection whilst handling criminal cases, and they can be given more space while handling criminal cases. You will be surprised, आप लोगों को सुन के शायद हैरानगी हो कि ज्यादा challenges आते हैं आपको मेल अपोजिंग काउंसिल की तरफ से। जिसका आप केस हैंडल कर रहे होते हैं उसकी तरफ से इतने नहीं आते, वहां से ना इतने कोई थ्रेट्स आते हैं ना इतने चैलेंजेस आते हैं। चैलेंजेस आते हैं आपको एट टाइम्स जजेस की तरफ से और अपोजिंग काउंसिल की तरफ से, जो कहते हैं कि ये औरत केस हैंडल नहीं कर सकती। सो उस चीज को काउंटर करने के लिए चैलेंजेस हैं, बिल्कुल हैं, लेकिन मैं आप लोगों को कहूंगी कि प्लीज केसेस लेना शुरू करें एंड स्टेप एट अ टाइम। चैलेंजेस को इसी तरह ओवरकम किया जाता है, फेस करके, उनसे भाग के कभी भी ओवरकम नहीं हो सकता।
Thank you so much, ma'am. And secondly, can you tell me about the working environment in ICRC and what are the ways to go there?
ICRC is an international organization. The working environment is very good. There is so ICRC functions under the mandate of international humanitarian law. International humanitarian law is the law of armed conflict. Like there is an armed conflict in Palestine. There is an armed conflict in Kashmir. So ICRC's mandate is to protect the rights of human beings in times of an armed conflict. ICRC को ज्वाइन करने का तरीका इज सिंपल, इट्स वेरी मेरिट बेस्ड। जब वो एडवर्टाइज करते हैं पोजीशंस के लिए तो आप अप्लाई करें, एंड मुझे भी इंटायरली मेरिट बेस्ड जॉब मिली थी। And there is an interview process and there is a test process. It may have changed now, but that's the process right now. And it has two kinds of postings. International postings भी इनकी होती हैं और local postings भी होती हैं। एक बात बहरहाल आप लोगों को पता होनी चाहिए कि जो इनकी इंटरनेशनल पोस्टिंग्स होती हैं वो कम से कम पहली 3 पोस्टिंग्स नॉन फैमिली पोस्टिंग्स होती हैं। मतलब यू कैन नॉट गो विद योर फैमिली इवन इफ यू हैव अ फैमिली, एंड इट्स कॉल्ड नॉन फैमिली postings or non-family stations, and they are always posted to hard stations. ICRC वहां होता है जहाँ conflict होती है, जहाँ war zone होती है। So ये बातें याद रख के, and if you are prepared for that career, it's a very challenging but very good career, but you must go with full knowledge of it.
I would also like to kindly request that you consider offering the internship opportunities to our students, both within your firm and through your professional network. We would greatly appreciate that if you could guide and support our students who may wish to approach you for further career advice or mentorship.
I offer internship opportunities to students throughout the year. Even right now, I have 2 interns with me, and whoever is interested can get in touch with me. Of course, I have limited places, so I try to accommodate on a first come first serve basis, and I'm also very particular when it comes to discipline. So the interns in my office do not make cups of tea or do photocopies, they do real work. और जहाँ तक मेरे नेटवर्क की बात है, मेरे सब एसोसिएट्स और इंटर्न्स इस बात की गवाही देंगे कि मेरे पास जो भी कोई आता है, मेरी कोशिश होती है कि वो यहाँ से राइज करके आगे निकले। मतलब उसका ये लॉ फर्म फाइनल स्टॉप नहीं हो सकता, तो मैं कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश करती हूँ। मैं आप लोगों को करियर गाइडेंस देती हूँ, एजुकेशन गाइडेंस देती हूँ, स्कॉलरशिप्स कैसे ले सकती हैं, आई एम अ स्कॉलरशिप होल्डर 2 times ओवर, मैं उसकी गाइडेंस देती हूँ। जो भी मेरे बस में होता है मैं वो नॉलेज इम्पार्ट करती हूँ और वो कनेक्शंस भी शेयर करती हूँ। बट internship first come first serve basis, and only those interns survive with me who are disciplined and who show up at work and who work.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your invaluable insights and experiences with us today. This session was truly enlightening and deeply inspiring for all of us. Your words have not only informed us, but also motivated us. So, on the behalf of Barrier University Legal Nexus family, I extend our heartfelt gratitude for taking out the time to be with us virtually. We truly appreciate your presence and the knowledge you have imparted. And secondly, apologies for the delay in the starting the session. Many students are basically currently in classes, attending the classes. And thank you all once again for joining us. We would look forward to joining such meaningful dialogues in the future, inshallah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.